Have you been outside enjoying your deck, heard loud buzzing, and noticed carpenter bees destroying the wood of your deck? Today, we're going to go over what they are, why they're there, and how to get rid of them for good. What are carpenter bees and why are they destructive? Carpenter bees are a flying insect. They are a bee, but what makes them different is they have the ability to bore and burrow through wood. What they'll do is they use their mouths to just drill and excavate holes up through the wood, build cathedrals, which are long tunnels that they use to nest and lay their larvae in. They do not all sting, only a female is equipped with a stinger. Males don't have stingers. However, they're very large, they're very loud, and they do cause damage to your wood. They love areas of wood such as decks, gazebos, sheds, or fences. It's extremely common to find them out in the backyard, especially in the springtime. How do you know if you have carpenter bees? Well, one, you can look and see if you can identify the specific bee, but this isn't the most common way how you know you have a problem. The most common way is seeing the damage that they cause. It's very interesting because they drill and bore perfect circular holes. If you see any wood, and usually it is on the underside, that looks like there's perfectly drilled holes, often in a line, that is carpenter bees. They go on the underside, again, they will just chew out the wood, excavate it out, and then continue to build those cathedral tunnels where they nest and put their larvae. If you don't notice these holes, a lot of people will notice the shavings. As they're excavating, they just discard the shavings and it drops down. So usually you'll be finding sawdust in odd areas on your deck or on a barbecue or just on the ground. So if you see the shavings down, look up and you will usually see the holes. They can burrow straight in the front, it's just less common. Let's talk about how you get rid of and treat a carpenter bee infestation. The great part about it is you know where they're nesting because you can see the holes. They're not like wasps where they build and grow massive colonies. There's usually not too many of them, so you can get it under control fairly quick. You want to make sure you get a product that has a long-lasting residual to treat right into the holes. What we recommend is getting a powdered insecticide, applying it right into all of the holes, pumping in lots of dust because it remains inside as a residual. This will get onto them, eliminate them, and it will kill off the larvae. You can try a spray, but you may need to reapply multiple times. Once you monitor the area, which means you're not seeing any more shavings, any new holes, or any carpenter bees flying around, you can then fill the holes in. We often recommend using something very strong, like steel wool, because it will prevent them from trying to reinfest. It is very common that year over year, you will have different bees coming back trying to get into similar areas, especially if the wood is rotted. You stayed with us this long, now let's talk about how you can prevent carpenter bees forever. So we talked about how it's great to backfill these holes with something like steel wool or a very strong sealant, but very simply put, if you paint the wood that they're burrowing into, and it's something strong, not a water-based paint or stain, generally that is enough to prevent carpenter bees from even starting to dig. They love raw, exposed, and even older rotting wood because it's easy for them to get through. So if you're able to paint all sides and all of that wood, you'll have a long-term prevention against carpenter bees in your backyard. Let's go over what we talked about today. We talked about what carpenter bees are and why they are destructive, how to identify the carpenter bees as well as any sort of nesting that they're doing, the holes, and of course the shavings that you find, how to effectively treat a carpenter bee infestation, and of course, how to prevent it forever. And one last tip is every spring, check your backyard. This is when they are the most active by far. This is when they'll go in there and be putting larvae in. So make sure you do it once around. And even if you don't have them, it's still a great idea to paint or stain that wood for long-term prevention.